Hello, everyone. In the small hours of 13th of April, there's going to be a full moon conjunct Spica, Alpha, Virgo. And whenever a new or full moon is aligned with a fixed star, it's going to be very important because you will be able to download the energy pattern of that particular star because the sun and the moon illuminates and also brings down the energy to the earth plane because it shines down to the earth plane. And for that, you need to understand what fixed stars are. Fixed stars are out there in the universe. They are not part of the solar system. So they are not part of the human experience. They are part of a universal experience. The soul is a higher dimensional entity. It comes from the seventh dimension at least. I'm saying seven because I can describe and even teach six dimensions. I can actually relate six dimensions to the human existence, to the human understanding. Above the sixth, I don't really know what's happening and I don't really understand. So that's why I surmise that probably the soul comes from a much higher level. But we don't know. I don't remember. You may. I don't know. But anyhow, fixed stars are higher dimensional worlds where the soul can migrate in a soul energy, in a spiritual energy, not in a physical form, and goes there for two main reasons. One is to learn something by which future incarnation can be easier or better or nicer, or to rehabilitate from a really difficult incarnation that we just left. And it's kind of like a sanatorium or like a rehab center. And we are learning to digest and to kind of incorporate human existence on a much higher level. So that's what's happening. And this particular full moon is on Spica. So let's take a look at the energy pattern for London. I again did the chart for London. So wherever you are watching this from, you need to relocate the chart, of course. But the London time is 1:22 a.m. And we have a Sagittarius rising, which is quite beautiful. So Jupiter is the chart ruler. And Jupiter at the moment is in Gemini, not doing too much in the chart, to tell you the truth. But anyhow, we in the London chart, which is quite prominent in many cases, from many points of view, we have Astrea, the karma breaker, the destiny changer on the ascendant. So this particular full moon could be a destiny changer for you if this is what you need. For this, of course, you need to kind of stay up late at night or get up at the very small hours and kind of go out there and try to incorporate or absorb the energy. On the midheaven, you have the Black Moon Lilith, which recently went into Scorpio and is going to be there for 9 months. So, and Black Moon Lilith is the third turning point of the Lilith myth, describing the returning goddess who is returning to the Garden of Eden to give to present Eve with a soul, because Yahweh creates her, makes her from the rib bone of Adam, and and he's very particular not to give her a soul. And if you read certain religious books going to the Middle Ages, this is what they keep saying, that the feminine women are inferior because they don't have a soul, because Eve never had a soul. But of course she did, because that's what Lilith accomplishes by giving her an apple. An apple, which in Hungarian is alma, and alma in Latin means soul. So here in the story, in the symbol of the apple, there's a very deep, interesting truth hidden. That yes, she got a soul, of course. Anyhow, and also the Venus is stationary. At the moment, it is Saturn is blocking it, and Mercury is conjunct the North Node. So there's a full conjunction. On one side of it is Ceres, which is coming up it actually will come up with a conjunction both with the North Node and with Saturn, and eventually with Neptune. And Neptune is at 0 degrees Aries, just recently went into Aries. And the triple conjunction with the Sun, Chiron, and Eris is probably the highlights of this particular chart, besides the stationary Venus. Before we actually look into the chart itself, here are the stars of Virgo, and you will be able to find Virgo in the not yet. You need to wait. You need to wait until the summer. It's a constellation you can see in the summer. But if you look up and you can distinguish the stars, quite funnily, 400 years ago, when they were allocated letters of the Greek alphabet, Zaviava was the beta star, the second brightest. Porrima was the gamma. Alpha was the delta, and Binda Beatrix was the epsilon star. So these are the 5 brightest stars. But as you can see, Porrima and Binda Beatrix overtook the beta star Zaviava. So now Spica is still very, very bright, 1.2. There are not too many one magnitude stars. Actually, there are only 21, as far as I know, whereas there are at least 6,000 visible stars, just imagine, in the sky. And so I always look at Binda Beatrix as if it were the beta star, but of course it's the epsilon star because they don't really change these destinations. But the alpha star, Spica, is holding the wheat shaft. So she is the life-giving, the feeding hand of the celestial virgin, while Binda Beatrix is the fruit-picking hand of the virgin, giving you the pleasures, giving you earthly pleasures instead of feeding and nurturing. So those are the stars. What is also probably important maybe for you, Heze and Zania are on the celestial equator, almost spot on at 0 degrees. Okay, so let's take a look at what happens. And this is something I showed you in my previous video, which gave you an account of what is happening in the night sky in April. So exactly at the full moon, you will have a Spica moon conjunction. So you will see the full moon, and next to it, to the south, to the east, you will see Spica, a very bright star. But then, as the night is going on and dawn is breaking, the moon will be covering Spica. This is called occultation, and it's a very funny thing to watch because the moon doesn't have an atmosphere. So what happens? It looks as if the star would swim towards the moon, but in reality, it's the moon that is moving towards the star. The moon travels 12, 13 degrees a day. So every 2 hours, it's making 1 degree. So 2 hours later, it's going to cover completely the star. And then another 2 hours later, approximately 1.5 hours later, it will spit out Spica on the western side of it. So we may not be able to watch this at dawn because it might be too bright by then. We might have a nautical twilight by then, unfortunately. But occultation is a very funny thing to watch, and you can do this best when it is in winter, because in winter you have a much longer dark period, and there's no nautical twilight to wash it out. So here is the triple conjunction, which is probably the most important feature of this particular full moon besides Spica. And by the way, Bernadette Brady, who wrote a wonderful book on the fixed stars, it's called the Brady Book of Fixed Star. I hope it's not out of print. If you want to deal with fixed stars, want to work with fixed stars, I suggest you buy it or get it, because it's the definitive work on fixed stars. And she says about Spica that it provides the potential for brilliance. So it's a brilliant star, and it gives you brilliance. And this is what you can download in the small hours. And actually until 4:30 in the morning, you can download this energy for yourself if you need to be brilliant at the moment. And here are the positions. So the zodiacal position, and I gave you two pictures. This is from Solar Fire. This is from another program, Astrokarma, which I'm using for my drawings, because they give you the exact position of the celestial objects, but it doesn't give you the exact degrees. And Solar Fire gives you the degrees, but it spreads it out, so it's harder to understand where it is. So both are accurate. And as you can see, the Chiron and the Sun are almost exactly conjunct, and the Sun is a little bit between Chiron, so it's past Chiron with 20 minutes. And Aries is at 25 degrees, so there's another 2 days before the Sun will reach Aries. But at the moment, it's between. Aries is drastically altered outward circumstances, and Chiron is our karmic wounds. In Aries, it's linked to wars, uh, violence, all kinds of ugly things. And now the Sun is actually incorporating both and highlighting it. And if you look at the idiots who are leading Europe, you can see that they are willing. Again, coalition of the willing. What willing, my dear friends? Coalition of the willing to toss us into full-blown hot war. This is what you want? I don't think so. I don't know what are you thinking about, really. Okay, and then if you look at the declination positions, you can see that the Sun and Chiron are not just conjunct exactly, but also on the same declination degree, whereas Aries is almost on the celestial equator, a little bit 11 minutes below the celestial equator. So actually, if we could see Chiron and Aries, we would see Chiron and Aries conjunct, and then Aries a little bit below them, actually almost 9 degrees below them. Okay, so that's one thing. And there's a complex planetary picture at 23, 25 degrees, including the ascendant descendant of the London chart. So there is a mystic rectangle between the angles, including Astrea, and kind of highlighted by the moon and actually not the angle, sorry, but about the ascendant, descendant, and the full moon. And the whole thing is, of course, reinforced by the fact that the two luminaries are in it. And there's also a boomerang. And the boomerang is a yod, a finger of fate, with a little angel wing on the other side. So it has an apex, which is the moon, and it has an anchor point. And you know what a boomerang is? It comes back to you. So it's like boom, coming back to you. There's another yod with the moon, the ascendant, Astrea conjunction, and Uranus. And Uranus is at the apex. So change. We need change, karma breaking change, which is highlighted by the moon. And there's also a mutable T-square with stationary Venus, Saturn. This is a blocking conjunction, and it will be blocking. You will see that the Venus is very slow moving. It's just turning. Of course, it's slow. And mutable T-squares are always about change again. And the apex, Venus, Saturn, is the fact that at the moment they are blocking our wealth, our well-being, our harmony. That is what the world leaders are trying to do. Okay, so that's what it is. And let's take a look at the transcendental objects. And on the Sun, Chiron, Aries triple conjunction, you have Tyr, Thales, and Harmonia. Harmony, Tyr is war, and Thales is the philosopher mathematician. So there's a balance between harmony and war, and we need philosophy to understand what's happening. On the Moon, you only have Spica, Alpha, Libra, the potential for brilliance. On Venus, stationary Venus, Saturn, you have Cerberus, the watchdog of the underworld, Cassandra, clairvoyance, but the clairvoyant princess is not being taken seriously, so nobody believes her. That's the problem, because she was cursed by Apollo when she rejects his love. And abundancia, abundance. And that is what is happening to us. They are guarding so that we can't get abundance. And no matter what we say, no one believes us. On Uranus, you have Pompeia, complete destruction. Valhalla, the place where the gods were conversing and talking and discussing stuff. Academia, which is academic knowledge. There is, this is very, very strange for me to see how there's no longer science. Science is what the sponsors want you to be science, what they are paying for, because scientific research costs a lot of money, and of course, scientists like to live well, and it depends on what the sponsors want to hear. You are going to find it. Be sure. So there's no science anymore. That's the problem. Very little. Let's put it this way. Very little, unfortunately. All this bullshit about the green energy. I mean, ridiculous. If you have a normal college degree, you should not accept it, and you should actually always question climate change. Of course, climate changes. Come on. It has always been changing. What even are they thinking about? Anyhow, there's also Lempo, which is the creator god of the Finnish people, who then later on in Christian times was turned into a demon. And that's what's happening. The next set of rulers have a new religion, a new ideology, and of course demonize the previous ones. That's what's actually happening. And Capulus, which is Perseus's sword, the stem of the sword, and it is a very masculine mystery school. And on the ascendant Astrea, you have Rast Al Hagu, the serpent holder of Ophiuchus, and it represents hidden healing powers, hidden healing knowledge. And on the descendant, you have two bright stars, Alnitak and Alnilam, which is Zeta and Epsilon Orion, and they are the bad stars. They are almost on the celestial equator. Actually, the third one, Mintaka, is spot on the celestial equator. Alnilam and Alnitak is a little bit further down, just 1 or 2 degrees below the celestial equator. And if we take a look at the daily travel of Venus and also Mercury just turned direct a couple of days ago, a week ago, and it's still very, very slow. Look at it. It's half a degree per day. It speeds up a little bit a day later. This is after the full moon. And by April 20th, when the sun moves into Taurus, it is almost at its normal travel, 45 minutes, 45, what am I saying? 54 minutes, 54 seconds. So it's almost 1 degree. But look at Venus. It just turned direct on the 14th. It's stationary on the 13th and turning direct on the 14th. And it does a mere 3 minutes per day. By next day, it's 5.5 minutes. So it's kind of speeding up a little bit, but still very, very, very slow. And then by the 20th, it is making a quarter of a degree, so still a full degree away from its normal daily travel. And if you take a look at what is happening with the three planets at the end of Pisces, Mercury is still conjunct Saturn, but this is no longer a blocking, this is a supporting conjunction. With Venus, Saturn, this is a blocking conjunction. And it's still blocking 5 days later. Look at it. Because if you take a look, Saturn's daily travel is around 6-7 minutes, and Venus doesn't reach it until maybe the 16th, 17th of April. By the 20th, it is reaching double Saturn speed. But if you also look at Mars, which turned direct about a month ago, look, it's still not itself. Okay, Mars does half a degree a day, and it's still not reaching half a degree. So it's slowly coming back to its normal speed. But that is why these are fast-moving planets, but still they are at the moment very slow, especially Venus. So their aspects remain, stick, and become very emphasized. So that's happening on the full moon, on Spica. Utilize it for yourself, become brilliant. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.